Yeah.
All right. So, Celeste, that was a fabulous tour. I love your farm so much. We're going to just chat a little bit about your business and how you got, what path you took that led you here. How did you come up with the farm name?
Jay wanted something that was sort of Western style and could be, he wanted like a cattle brand, which obviously we're not doing.
You don't have livestock here.
No, it didn't quite fit. But we do have like the Western front on the garage kind of thing. So, and I think he always referred to this as the ranch. We used to have livestock. But so we just kind of played around with a lot of different names, and this was the only one we could agree on. So
I think like free range has such positive attributions of anything. Like control is not in the word, and you know, you just kind of work with nature, in harmony with nature. I hope that's what it means to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think also on kind of a political level, people should have freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah, and kind of land access, honestly.
Yeah.
And that on a creative level, that we want to provide that openness for creative experimentation and things like that to our customers.
That's wonderful. I love it. I love it. And the brand, you know, can be stitched on a denim shirt for him or something like that.
Cowboy hat. Yeah.
So we're in Whatcom County, Bellingham. Are we in the city limits of Bellingham?
We are outside city limits.
Okay. We're how many miles from the Canadian border?
I think like 7.
It's close.
Maybe it's really close.
I saw the sign for the border crossing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And you right up the street is the border.
Yes. That Sumas border is the one I went through on my way to the Sulphurous Summit with my car filled with all kinds of things that I was trying to sneak through. I mean, honestly, no, that's another story altogether. I'll tell you it off camera. But you know, I'm like a middle-aged white woman. I mean, with white hair. I mean, they just thought I was a granny going to a garden show. So,
not full of illicit trunk material.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the land here at Free Range, you've told us the acreage, but you haven't told us the story of how you found it. How did you land here? And because it's a beautiful space, it's so open and sunny.
And we have almost no our neighbors are a raspberry field and some cows.
Okay.
You know, we don't really have a lot of people looking in at what we're doing, which is really comfortable.
Yeah, you have a little bit of protection from the congestion of a suburb, even though you're kind of in the suburbs.
Sort of. Yeah, we're pretty close to services in town and everything. So Jay purchased this property about 22 years ago. He was renting here. I think he was living in a teepee that he
As single guys
put together.
Do?
No, he was actually with a partner, and they were going to have a kid. And the people who owned the land were like, well, we're leaving. We're going back to Michigan, and like, you can buy it or you can leave.
Wow.
And so Jay sort of pulled it together to buy the property because he was about to have a kid. So
seems like a responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
But this land was just what? Just pasture?
Just grass.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think this garden area was there, and people were sort of trying to farm. They were farming with horses a little bit. So I think maybe the beginning of that first field was a little bit like 6 rows.
Food farming. Yeah.
And herbs. There have been some herb growers here for a while. Or 50 years ago, the person who put the pool in, he was a bulb extension agent where the mall is now. So there's a little bit of, like, there were roses in that first row, you know, decades ago. And then our neighbor told us they got turned in to grow wheat.
Oh my goodness.
I know, which I was like, and now I have to redo all that work.
Yeah, so there's some horticultural, agricultural kind of pedigree to this property.
And kind of this, like, I feel like flowers want to grow here, and they've been trying to grow here, you know, and we're just sort of manifesting that for the land.
I love that. That's a wonderful story. So, but when Jay bought it, it was more to make a home, not necessarily to farm.
I think he always wanted to farm. Like, he'd been a farmer for a long time prior and had always wanted to do that. Yeah, so I think the idea of having a farm, but also working on a farm and then coming home and farming, the reality is a little bit harder to realize. And so then when we got together as humans, it's such a weird phrase, when we started our relationship.
When native plants brought you together.
Yeah, when native plants brought us together, then there was sort of the energy and capacity to really make it into a thriving farm.
Wow. And mentioning native plants, you both were working at a native plant nursery nearby.
Yeah.
And you were the seed collector, you said.
Seed collector, propagation technician, and he was the field manager.
I just have to stop and say, what did you study in college?
Philosophy.
And
poetry.
And poetry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to ask you for some poetry.
Oh, okay.
If you ever give yourself a chance to write.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not working 7 days a week.
I need to work on my practice. I think it's, you need to keep your chops going.
But a lot of people do that. You go to college for liberal arts, general studies, critical thinking, life lessons, and then somehow plants caught your attention, or?
Yeah, I wanted to.
I'm sure there's many stops along the way.
Yeah, I actually was teaching English in Brazil, and I was living in Sao Paulo and was pretty unhappy, I think, with the population density, and I thought I had a chance to like work outside and decide if I liked doing that. So I took a position on a trail crew and kind of found my way into farming from there because I did enjoy being outside.
The trail crew being in the U.S. or Brazil?
Being in the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah, I came back to Arizona, where I'm from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then that was sort of a sideways entree into outdoor physical work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
And being around plants constantly, right? And really finding happiness in that space. And then I found botany fascinating. And there's obviously many more plants that flower than plants that we can eat. So the learning feels a little more expansive in the flower world for me.
I've never heard anyone say that before.
Really?
Yes, because so many people are so deep into food farming, and then flowers seem like a little side venture with zinnias and sunflowers, but you're just saying no.
Yeah, I mean, we grow tomatoes and we sell tomato foliage to florists.
Right,
you know, like
right.
everything is a flower.
You're looking at the whole universe as a
potential for cutting.
Yeah, your art supplies.
Well, I mean, really, I just want to I was like, how do we live in harmony with the world, right?
Yeah.
How do we not feel destructive as humans? Because I think there is a lot of human destruction, and with farming and growing and like planting, flower farming is somewhere where you can plant trees, you know, and kind of make a living out of it.
Yes.
And there's so few careers, I feel like, that really offer me the feeling of being a productive participant in the world.
Right. And you're doing it on your own terms. You know, you're supporting yourself, your livelihood from growing plants. That's so. What's a higher calling than that?
It feels like we're just in service to the plants in a way, and helping them kind of come into being, right, and live their best lives. Yeah.
So there was a time when it really became like, okay, this is seriously, we're going to go hardcore and make this is our business, and we're going to professionalize and all. Because I'm wondering how did that. At what point was that? Were you kind of working full time and this was your side hustle? And when did you flip the switch? Because you were doing this before COVID. Free range was established, because we did a couple fun things for the growers market during COVID.
Right. Yeah, I think I went full time in, I don't even know anymore, 2017, 2018.
Okay. Wow.
Maybe 2018, because 2017 was our first season and I was still working at the nursery, and then I was like, oh, I can make the same money I'm making there selling flowers at home. Like, why would I?
Right.
But
But it's not the same as a paycheck.
Yeah, and you work a lot more hours for the same pay. So
are you saying you might have romanticized it a little bit?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think everyone can relate to that.
Yeah, I think. But at the same time, my commute is great, and I get to be here, kind of. And I have a lot of creative control,
Yeah.
I think, over what my day looks like and what we're doing.
Right.
Even though sometimes it's sort of like, well, you're harvesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you are. The harvest, the flowers aren't going to wait for you.
Right.
You're kind of, you're not, maybe a little bit past peak of the season, but you said you're still working 7 days a week, and but they maybe are a few lighter days on the weekends, or
I think this past week started to feel easier, more ease.
maybe the cooling off of the seasons. Yeah.
And there's just literally less light hours a day that I can be outside working, so I get pushed out of the field whether I'm ready or not.
Oh, you're not like a headlamp harvester.
I can't see as well with the head. It is just not efficient at all. And I have, I think there was one night I did some of that before it was going to really rain, but I don't. It slows way down. The potential to cut yourself is way higher.
Oh my goodness.
And it's so slow when you're like, is that ready?
Unless you're
Is
like
it
some
okay?
urgent order from a florist or something like that.
I try not to do flower emergencies
Good.
because they're flowers.
That could be a great t-shirt. I mentioned florists. You talked about grocery programs when we were looking at the dahlias. So you have a bunch of different channels, but your primary channel, is it the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
100, yeah.
And is that easier now because they're bringing a truck up to pick up your product?
It helps us get flowers down there twice a week. Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
definitely saves Jay, who's our driver, 5 hours.
A whole day of
that
the
trip.
week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, and he drives down at night too, so it's a little hard for him the next day.
Oh, geez. Oh, he
too.
would drive at night after the traffic.
So we
get there
usually-
at midnight or something?
Not quite. We go down. He'll leave here about 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
So he misses rush hour, but he's back. Sometimes it's 12:30 at
Okay.
night when he's back, and then we're working again at
7, 6, yeah.
6:30. Yeah, 6:36 in the summer when it's hot.
So is he now not driving the delivery down at all?
No, he still is.
Okay.
On Monday, because we have to get flowers down there. I'm trying to get them to come on Mondays.
Yeah,
Yeah. But we have to get flowers down there. The big rush is usually Wednesday, and Tuesday and Thursday are pretty big days for those weekend events. So, I mean, we have orders. We have a ton of orders on Wednesday, so we have to have flowers down there for that. And then
For pre-orders that
Yes.
florists want to pick up
Yeah.
Wednesday morning bright and early.
which is
Yeah.
most of what we have sold. Oh, hi, let
she
me
is. Yeah,
grab
go
you
ahead.
flowers. Don't be sorry.
No, we're waiting for you. Okay, so we were talking about the deliveries. I understand that that's really the juice that oils the engine in that weird metaphor, but the places
In the future, where we run on juice.
yeah, but it could be bio,
I love it.
biofuel.
Yeah.
But the growers market is a machine during wedding season, so those pre-orders are really you've got to fill that demand, and that's taking flowers down on Monday, so they can be picked up on Wednesday.
Yeah, basically I tell the crew, like, we need to hustle on Monday so we can cruise through the rest of the week. That's our money-making day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so then that's Jay's delivery, and then they send a truck up on Thursdays. So
For the restock.
yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not so much saving you time as allowing you to move more product. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so you've got the growers market, and then you're selling to the local co-op, which is the Whatcom County.
The Bellingham Community Food Co-op.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 locations, and we do bouquet drops twice a week.
Oh, that's so great.
There,
And they
yeah.
they straight out buy. It's not on consignment.
Yeah,
That's
which is
nice.
nice. Yeah, having pre-orders and already sold flowers is really great.
And your branding is on it.
Yes.
And then, are you doing any direct to consumer?
A little, yep. We do our bulk buckets, which is just bulk flowers, sort of wholesale prices. I think they're a really good deal. Trying to do some education so that other people know that they're a really good deal.
Tell me about that.
Well, I think there seems to be a little bit of a perspective that if you're getting flowers from a farm, they should be cheap.
Right.
Like farm equals cheap.
Right. And I think like blogs like The Knot, like these wedding blogs have started that misconception, and it's just perpetuated.
Right, when really you're getting the highest possible quality with the least transfer, so the least damage to your flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people don't buy flowers that often necessarily. Like if you're buying flowers for a wedding, maybe that's the only time you're buying flowers.
Yeah, there's
ever.
no habitual consumer practice. There are for few people, I guess, but
Yeah.
so the people who are calling you find you on your website,
Yes.
and they think, oh, we can buy a couple buckets for a baby shower or something like that.
Totally. Yeah. And we've done, for people that get flowers for like memorial services, for gifts for friends, or we'll see people who got flowers for their wedding and then they're coming back for the baby shower and things like that. So it's really sweet to meet them and kind of be part of those moments. And then we do a little bit of design. I'm working on developing that part of our business
excited about
too.
that.
Yeah. Well, and people, like a couple of my coworkers are interested in that facet, so trying to build that up a little bit so that they have space to grow and learn and do what they want to do too.
So will you share a few photos of some of your design projects?
Yeah, I will.
All right,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I mean, you
can
have
do
an
that.
aesthetic, clearly.
Yeah.
And it's probably very seasonal and very much driven by the flowers available to you that given moment in time.
Yeah, I think I'm really starting to figure out how exactly I want to articulate that more clearly,
Yeah.
and focusing a little more on simplifying gesture and because we have so much choice since we're
Yes.
here, we can pick so many different things, so really streamlining that choice process a little bit, so I'm not using every single flower that I can.
Right.
That's not really the direction I want to
Just listening to you talk about your aesthetic and like how you want to really be intentional about refining it, it makes me feel like your work as a poet, your practice as a poet, there's something there. Like
Yeah.
poetry requires this, like every word has to carry a lot of weight
editing,
in poetry.
really good editing.
Right. So I think you're going to come to it the same way.
I didn't make that connection either, but I think you're exactly right. And really part of making with flowers that's so important, I think, is that moment at the end or towards the end, usually when you're taking something out, and it opens space
Yes.
and makes everything more comfortable where it is.
Yes.
And just is such an important, like the subtracting is almost the most important move to the final.
It's very Coco Chanel too, apparently.
Oh, wow.
I learned that long ago. You always take one piece of jewelry off before you leave the house for a party.
Well, I should have.
So your flowers can do that too.
Yeah.
That's so great. And I know next week, in 2 weeks, you're going to be hosting the ASCFG regional meeting, and you'll be hosting a tour here, and then also speaking. And so the timing was perfect for me to show this next week, give people who are coming a little preview, and
cool.
and give people who aren't coming a little FOMO, hopefully, who knows if they can still get in on the tickets. But you're going to present a lecture on pricing?
Profitability. So
Okay.
we'll talk about pricing too, for sure.
Wow.
It's a component.
Wow.
Definitely.
I mean, that is really generous, because you're kind of peeling back the curtain and talking to your peers. But it's not discussed enough.
It isn't. And I think transparency around costs, even like how are you getting land? Where is the money coming from? I think a lot of farms get started, because somebody had a lucrative other career or they have family money coming. So how do we have that conversation?
Yeah.
How are we talking about like, where is the money? Because it can be uncomfortable, or it can take away from the fantasy, but we need to sustain our livelihoods too.
It's so essential, and talking about it makes it less scary for people as well. So people are going to come away with, even if they already are, have a good sense of their cost of goods or whatever, this is going to take them hopefully down that path of refining and killing those darlings that aren't profitable,
Or
and
at least knowing that they're not profitable, and choosing to continue with your eyes open.
and knowing why.
Yeah, right.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we all do that.
I mean,
right?
we're growing Lysianthus.
Okay.
So,
Enough said. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
yeah.
I wish I could stay
so
longer,
much
but
for coming. I know.
it's great to share your story, and we'll get some of your photos of your design work, and next time I'll meet you when you come with Jay to Seattle, because
Great.
I'm sure you do occasionally. Well, you're on the board.
Oh, yeah, we have a meeting
All right. All right.
coming up, our retreat.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't be in on that, but I'll figure something out. Thanks so much. Is there anything I didn't ask you want to mention?
I just really appreciate all that you've done to promote local flowers, Deborah. Like, it's changed the industry so much.
Oh,
It
thank you
makes
for that.
what we're doing really possible. Yeah, thank
Well, I think
you.
it's a collaboration. It takes a village. Thanks so much.
Thank you.